grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B. I'm a son of an all-powerful and perfectly loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships. I'm living in the miracle of recovery one day at a time, and I'm here with the intelligent agent spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, come say hi to us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nikki M, and I'm driven by 100 forms of fear, 100 forms of self-delusion, 100 forms of self-seeking, and 100 forms of self-pity. So every day I got to wake up and say, I'm fired and God's hired. That's who I am.
Love that. All right. To any newcomers here to Noodle It Out with Nikki, we are part of the RICO 12 family of recovery resources. Go check out all of those resources at RICO12.com. That's RECO12.com. Go check out our social media presences, Facebook, Instagram, those types of things that I stink at keeping up to date, but they're there. Jump in and start conversations in our WhatsApp group. Have conversations. Ask these types of questions. Get the experience, strength, and hope from others. Also, if you have not already done so, please consider making a donation to help with this cause. You can do that at RICO12.com/support. There's also links in the show notes of this podcast. We're so grateful to all those who have contributed and continue to do so. It really does make a difference and help us keep this project going and growing. All right. Today's question, Nikki, is one that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in people's lives that I'm working with, sponsees' lives, and others in the rooms that I'm in. And the question is basically this. I was recently in a situation where I had family, friends, loved ones all around me, and yet I struggled at being present with them during that time. I was either isolating or future tripping or in some sort of fear or shame and not connecting and being of service to them. Nikki, what does the book say about this type of situation?
Well, my book says you're not going to find God if you don't live in the present moment. What page is that on? Well, I love our big book, everybody. We use the 4th edition of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous for all addictions and afflictions. And please, as Justin said, the 7th. I know a lot of you, if you're like me, I spent a lot of money on the men, and I spent a lot of money on my looks trying to get the men. So just throw a little bit in the 7th, but that's not the question. How do I get present in the moment when my family, when society is eating my soul? No, it wasn't addressed like that, but I know what you mean. Here it is, page 59. May you find God now. See, our magic book, our Bible for survival, tells us where to find God right now. You are never going to find God in yesteryears or future tripping. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't. It says, may you find God now. Many of my friends in program have spent, here's the thousands and millions and trillions of dollars on, weekend getaways, going to those Anthony Robbins workshops and going to all these things, you name it, Costa Rica, Eat, Love, Pray in Bali. And then what happens? They get out of that moment and there's no God. This is all in your mind. Page 23 says this disease of alcoholism, the disease of self, centers in our mind. So page 59 You have to be in the now. This is the most radical mindfulness program. So if you've spent a lot of money like me, I'm 51, I spent a lot of money traveling, looking for God. It's only right here, right now. So save your money, get present now, get in the now. Page 86 says, must not drift. What does that mean, everybody? You don't get to drift out of the now. That means you keep your mind here. Does that mean that you don't have your to-do list? It says we put things on in black and white on paper. Oh, Nikki, that's for a fourth step. No, better put it down. Get your list out. Because why? Page 88. We addicts, we alcoholics, we family members suffering the disease of alcoholism are undisciplined. You have to discipline your mind to be in the now. Does that mean you sit and do nothing? I'm waiting for God to tell me what to do. No. Page 420 says, you never sit and do nothing while waiting for God to tell you what to do. You do the next right thing. And in those moments, we just all came out of the holidays. Everybody, Happy New Year. We're in 2025 in January. Here it is. You have to be prepared, right? The mindfulness. Watch your thoughts. Don't watch for after. Watch your thought life. This is all about your thought life, isn't it? So must not drift off. You have to stay present in the now. You're not allowed to drift off into worry, morbid reflection, or future. Page 559. That's why I said this is a magic book, everybody. This is the last paragraph. I think, Justin, they're writing a new book. I don't know if the page numbers, but this one's written beautifully, which is page 559. We've gone here many, many times on the Noodle podcast. And it says, above all, you have to reject fantasizing. See, you reject it. That's all fantasy addiction. Hi, I should have introduced myself. I'm Nikki. I'm a hardcore fantasy addict. I was a Twilight mom. Remember, my daughter's 32, but I think it came out when she was like 17. And I went into deep, hardcore fantasy that I need a vampire and I need to have magical powers. And I was a grown adult in hardcore fantasy addiction, thinking if only my life I could be a Cullen. I wasn't part of the werewolf team. I was the vampire team. And it was like, I couldn't accept reality. I can't accept reality. I need to have that kind of life. I need, and then 50 Shades of Grey came out and it was over. We're not a glum lot, everybody here. Page 133, we have fun or newcomers won't want it. So don't be afraid to laugh and have a good time because the present moment isn't that bad. See, Justin, if I'm in my family, and I did this recently when I went, I was just away and I had to, you said, with the people we love. And I like to cause a lot of trouble with the people I love. Why? I introduced myself today. I'm Nikki, and I live on page 62. I'm selfish, and I'm self-centered. I'm thinking about me. I'm driven, not by love, I'm driven by my need to be right. I'm driven by, I need you to make me feel okay. You see, I'm driven by the fears, by the self-obsession. So what do I need to do? Probably, Justin, you and I need one of those. I don't have an Apple Watch, but I see all the young kids talking into it. That stuff scares me. It's like we need to live on page 119. Because Justin, did you do that? Did you pause and count your blessings? Or did you get there and started looking at Aunt Susie Q going, she's judging me, or going, oh my God, my wife wants me to do that. What later? I need to relax. You see what I mean? Like pause and count your blessings. And when you start counting your blessings, how the hell can you drift out of the now?
Yeah. And for me in those situations, yes, oftentimes I do pause. Oftentimes I do take that time to connect and say, okay, where am I being selfish, dishonest, resentful? Where is fear in this? And going through that step 10 process, often I'm doing that, but sometimes I'm not. And a phrase that comes to me, and it's not a big book phrase, at least not word for word, but it's one that I think is very pertinent, and I'd like to get your take on this, is be where your feet are. If I'm at a family gathering or something like that, and all of a sudden I find myself drifting off into the football game that is on the TV in the other room where nobody else is, or if I'm drifting off into thinking, man, I wish I was somewhere else, I need to pause and where are my feet? What is my purpose for being here? And change my direction. Not wait for, like you said, not wait for God to tell me what to do, but get into action to doing the next right thing. So, be where your feet are, Nikki. What are your thoughts on that?
That's in the big book. And our friend David G took us there to page 68 most recently. And you know it and I know it. There it is. There's the word be. See, it doesn't say direct our attention to what God would have us do. You said, this is what Justin just said, everybody. He said, be where your feet are. Now, everyone's like, I'm sure people go, Nikki, I want to know the book as good as you. Well, I've been here 12 years in these rooms. I've been 8 years nonstop in the big book. I'm supposed to be learning French. You know this, Justin. And I even got a French big book in French because I live in Canada where we're bilingual, and someone in Montreal gave me one. I haven't even opened it because I'm still focusing on these things that I keep learning. This book is like a treasure chest. It's never ending. So when Justin said, be where your feet are, it says here, direct our attention to what would God, what would this power, no one's looking for God, what would the spiritual principles have you be? So where are your feet? God would have me be loving. God would have me be responsible, interested in what other people are doing and saying, not waiting for my turn to speak. God would have me be loving and totally kind and patient, knowing that football game's always going to be there. Okay, Justin, I know you sports people. I don't want to get into the sports. It's all distraction, everybody. But that's an opinion on an outside matter that Nikki M's not supposed to have. Okay, see, I could wake myself up real quick. Let me go deeper as this game. B, what would God, everybody write that question down all through the day. Demonstrate what God would have me be, not do. What would God have me be? Nikki, he'd have you be so kind and gentle in your words. Stop it. Stop dropping F-bombs. Come on. God wants you to be kind. God wants you to be in your feminine energy and stop acting like a man. Here we go. There's another page on here and I got to find it. It's on page 130. Let's go here. I want to break this down and then, oh, I love this paragraph. And then Justin, you can give us some thoughts and we can all go have our great day. Those of us, Justin, page 130, second paragraph. Those of us who have spent much time in the world of spiritual make-believe, above that I wrote fantasy addiction. I don't want to live in the here and now. I want to be a Cullen with vampire powers and be magical and mystical and live forever. Okay? I eventually saw the childness of it. Nikki, wakey, wakey. It's childness for you to sit here, blot out your consciousness with every fantasy novel you can get your hands on. See, this dream world has been replaced by a great sense of purpose. I'm here having purpose at my family party. I need to be present and look at Aunt Susie in the eye with my head held high and be interested in what she's saying. That's tolerant. That's the practice of being tolerant, isn't it? And I have to have that sense of purpose accompanied by a growing consciousness. What does it mean to be conscious, everyone? It means to be painfully aware. You need to be painfully aware of where you are and what you are doing and saying at all moments. That's why they say this is not easy. When you hear the distractions, when, my mom has her news channel playing all the time in the background, Justin. I mean, that TV I don't even watch TV, but she has it. That's her best friend. She's 78. You know, my mom's story. She has that damn TV, that television going all day, and it's always on CNN. I'm like, woman, we live in Canada. She's nuts, right? And I get it. I get it. Conscious. Are you painfully aware of the power of God in your life? That's what we need to be thinking about, because Justin, we have come to believe that God, that he, that she, that this capital power would like us to keep our heads in the clouds. You're drifting out into what? What's the score? What do I have to do tomorrow? Oh my God, I didn't do that report, and it's going to be waiting for me when I get home. No, we have to believe that this power wants us to keep our head in the clouds. God will do for me. I'm a spearhead. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm in a miracle program with my miracle friends in a spirit world, and that my feet ought to be firmly planted. There's the page 420. I just keep doing the next right thing and leave the results up to God. I'm planted firmly on the earth. My head's in the spirit world. That is where my fellow travelers are. That's where Justin is. That's where David G is. That's where my sponsees are. That's where my sponsor is. And that is where my work. I made a decision to be a servant of God. I don't get a day off because I'm in Oklahoma. I don't get a day off because I'm in Istanbul. I must, right, do this work. That's where this is to be done. This is the reality, Justin. I made a decision. I'm fired. God's hired. And I have found nothing incompatible between a powerful spiritual experience. Every day I need this. Every day I need to be conscious, painfully aware, keeping my head in the promises and my feet soldier on the ground, and my life of sane and happy usefulness.
You know, Nikki, I love the definition you gave to consciousness, to become painfully aware of something, and I think that speaks very loudly to me. Improving my conscious contact with God, I need to become painfully aware that there is a power that is greater than me, that wants what's best for me, and that requires me to do some things that I'm maybe uncomfortable with. Uh, in a social situation with people where I need to be where my feet are, I need to become painfully aware. Where in those situations, I may seek to numb out so that the pain is gone, even if it's a good pain, even if the pleasure the pleasure is gone, whatever. Go and numb out, whether it be in front of the TV watching the news or football, or whatever it may be, or whether it be just in my head going drifting off into morbid reflection or into fantasy, whatever that may look like. And yeah, this concept of being painfully aware goes along with another concept of, the treasure I most want is being guarded by the biggest, meanest dragon that I have to go to. I can't slay that dragon myself, but if I rely on that power greater than me, that dragon will be killed and I will obtain that treasure. Well, any other thoughts on that, Nikki?
Yes, it's page 58, Justin. See, you and I need to remember, line out every day, Justin, that we deal with alcoholism, addiction. We deal with the disease of selfishness and self-centeredness. It's cunning, Justin. It's baffling, and it's powerful. And without help, what's it? This life, what's the help? This program, the 12 steps, the fellowship I crave. This life is too much for me. But there is one, only one. See, we're beyond human aid. This power, right? There's one, God of your understanding, who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. Everybody make the decision. Justin always says it. come all the way in, sit all the way down, stay with us, don't leave, because we're all standing every day at a turning point. So we need to ask for this protection from our power and care with complete abandonment every day. Are you making the sincere decision on page 63 to abandon yourself to this way of living every day? This is, again, Justin, this is not easy. The book says on page 14, simple but not easy. It says destruction of self. Page 15 reminds us that there are going to be certain trials. Having family dinner while like things in our mind are flying at us. You understand, this is real serious stuff. So, you take us out with the final thought, but my final thought right now is I'm grateful because I need this reminder every day. That's what we do. We're iron sharpening iron. Two or more people gathered together. Justin and I have our books right between us. We are in it. And we know we just get this daily reprieve. And I'm grateful, Justin. I know you get a lot of messages that this podcast helps people. And if we can help one person, Justin, we got a grandbaby, yours. I'm still waiting for mine. But maybe our little guy needs this podcast one day. Maybe his friends do. We're doing something here. And I'm just grateful for you, my brother. It's going to be a great year for us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. I'm grateful to be your trudge buddy as we trudge this path of happy destiny. Everybody, as was referenced here, come all the way in, sit all the way down, stay. This is where the miracles happen. This is where we can connect with that power greater than ourselves that will do for us that which we cannot do for us that which we cannot do for ourselves. Work it. You are worth it.